Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 8 Letters Book Talk. Today we have a very special guest. But before I ask him to introduce himself, I'd like to ask him first. How are you doing today, sir?
Today I'm a bit nervous. It's my first time doing interview like this, but yeah, a bit nervous but also excited because I'm finally able to talk about this book that I wrote and wrote and being made available to everyone at the 8 Letters community.
Thank you so much for that, sir. It's a little hot outside, but we'll try to make this book talk as casual and as chill as possible so you're able to relax and converse about the book. So, without further ado, now I'll have you introduce yourself and, of course, your book. Just tell us what is it about.
Okay, so hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this. Whatever time it is that you're watching this. My name is Marvin, but I'm also known as MC Tolfo. That's how I write. That's my pen name, and I am the author of the fantasy book. There, The Girl from the Inn. So it's a fantasy adventure set in a magical place, not so magical place with relatable and compelling characters. And yeah, that's just the cover of the book, care of Patti Quesiko. And yep, here it is.
Thank you, sir. I have to say, though, I really like the cover. When I first saw the cover, I was very much interested to know what the book was about. Because I think it's a very creative, very telling image for the story. So yeah. So this leads me to my next question po. I'm sure anyone who will read or who would want to read the book would want to know what inspired you to write The Girl from the Inn, and if you have any personal experiences or sentiments that you tried to incorporate in the book po.
There's a lot of inspiration for The Girl from the Inn, but at its core, it's actually inspired by the D&D game that I played with my friends for almost 4 years. So, for those who don't know, D&D or Dungeons and Dragons, it's a collaborative tabletop role-playing game, and I was the DM or the dungeon master at the time. So I created a story which is actually based on a NaNoWriMo entry I made way back. So I wrote a nano, and then that's where I created the story. That's where I set the campaign of our game. And yeah, this book narrates the early adventures of my friends back then. So actually, two of the characters here in this book are based on my friends' characters, Rob and Lyra. So they're based on actual people. So yeah, those are what inspired me to create the story for the book. And through that, we played for almost. This is before COVID. This is pandemic, so we played almost weekly. And because of the nature of the game of the D&D, it's collaborative. So every people on the table can just add inputs, adds anything, and it can really improve. It's the concept is the NaNoWriMo concept I had is such a simple story, but it was really improved and it was really exaggerated. It really grew because of the additions of my friends, of the things they added to the story, the nuances, and since they are played by actual people, they're very much relatable. They're much like your friends as well. So that's what the whole story is inspired with.
That's very interesting to know, sir. I like the message of your friendships inspiring your work, and I think it's interesting how The Girl from the Inn is a result of that friendship and that kind of bond that you made with your friends. So I think that's a very wonderful message, and I think very interesting to anyone who would read the book actually. And although I'm not a gamer, I'm not super familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. I just heard it. I think it was referenced in Stranger Things when I watched it before. Yeah. But I like what you said about it being collaborative. I think it reflects also the kind of friendship that you have, and why this actually prompted you to write this book.
Because when you write a book, it's just you, right? You in your room and your typewriter or your not typewriter anymore, but you use a typewriter. But you and your computer and your laptop, and it's just you and your head. But when you have a story that is like coming from different people, you can have ideas that you wouldn't even think of. It's ideas that like truly creative ideas that are really out of the box. So that's I think that's what I value about of that experience and why I wrote the book, because that really gave me that, okay, this is something that I want to share with everyone, this experience that we had, this shared experience that we had.
Thank you for that, sir. I'm sure that's very inspiring, especially for people also who actually play with their friends and get a lot of ideas during those moments. And then it will probably inspire them to create something that will also inspire others, like a book, like The Girl from the Inn po. So for my next question po, I'd like to know, how did you make use of the fantasy genre to build up your story?
Oh, so by using a fantasy setting in building the story, I was able to draw and add elements that are beyond the reality that we know that we live out. So it's just really a truly escapist storyline, or scenarios that with higher stakes, filled with danger. So despite having characters that are young of age, so like late teen characters, right? They are faced with choices that are literally risking their lives. So that is the challenge that was able to give them because of the setting, because we have fantasy setting that has the elements of people can do magic, and there are supernatural elements that are dangerous and are lurking around. So yeah, that added the whole element of risk and danger to everyone's lives, and in a way that makes the challenges they face, compelling to read, and hopefully it compels the readers to like keep turning the pages and find out what happens next, if they overcome this challenge or whatnot. But yeah, it's also stretched my world building skills, because I was able to create something, a world or setting that is a bit unbelievable but still also familiar. Because I didn't intend to have like something as big as George R.R. Martin world or Lord of the Rings worlds. For the Girl from the Inn, I'm just aiming for something like in the middle of that, something as not as grand, as epic as that, but something familiar. That if you're like a college student, right, entering school right now, something like, oh, this girl was forced to drop out of school for something important to her. So that's like one element that, although it is a magic school, because Kasana, the main character, she's from a magic school, so it's like magic, it's like Hogwarts College, I call it. So yeah, she was forced to drop out of that to take care of her mother, which is something very personal and important to her. So that is hopefully something that regular people who are not who are not in the fantasy world, something that we can relate to, but still had a bit of that fantasy edge at it.
That's interesting, sir. I have to agree. I think the fantasy genre, I actually look up to writers who utilize the fantasy genre, because I think sometimes it takes a lot of, well, not sometimes, most of the time, it takes a lot of creativity to be able to incorporate, the real life lessons, or the subtle messages that are actually very much timely and relevant for the readers, right? So to be able to create a world where the characters will revolve around, and also the story, and then the lessons, I think it's very creative po to be able to use the fantasy genre in this way. So yes po. So for my
And
next question,
I'm
okay,
I'm
go
just a really big fan of fantasy. Yeah, I mean, I played D&D, so that's obvious. But I'm really just a big fan. The references that I made, yeah, they're just really the thing that I grew up with. I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed reading, so that's really why I enjoyed writing. Thank you. Sorry, go on.
it's okay, sir. It's like a culmination po of your interests, right? You're able to incorporate them. That's very very interesting po. So for the next question po, I'd like to know, just out of curiosity as well, which characters did you have the most fun with in writing? So you mentioned a while ago that two of the characters are inspired by your friends. Now we'd like to know po which one maybe you had to write about or parang create more qualities or ideas about, and which one of those characters did you enjoy doing that po?
I had fun writing a lot of the characters because I tried, because like I said, some of them are based on characters created by my friends, so they have a set personality that I have to adhere to. Right? When I ask from them for permission, hey, can I use your character in my book? I'm like, okay, but I have to keep in mind that these are characters that they created. It's their idea, so I have to make sure that I was loyal to their personalities. So I'm not making them behave or act out of character. But in terms of but if I'm really forced to pick one, I think there's one character that I had really up to now as I reread the book, as I check it again. I don't know, now that it's printed. When I read through it, I really had fun writing this character. It's one of the minor villains in the story. I didn't actually give her a name. Now I regret it. I didn't give her a name, but I gave her a nickname. I nicknamed her Banks because of her bangs. But yeah, that's a nickname that the other characters call her. And she's just this boisterous, kinetic, and loud character that's just like brimming with chaos. It's unfortunate that I wrote her as a villain, because now people might hate her. But if she's not a villain, if you meet her as an everyday regular person and you pass her by the street, yeah, I'm sure you would love her and you would really enjoy being her friend, being right her company, because you don't know what she's gonna say next or what she's gonna do next. She's just like, it's like she's the kind of person. Oh my god, what are you doing that? Something like that. Something like that. Others might find annoying, but for me, writing her is just like really fun, because she's she kind of reminds me of, I'm sure everyone has that in their friend groups. The person who's like you kind of feel embarrassed being with, but still you enjoy having around, right? So yeah, that's the kind of that's her whole personality. So I enjoyed writing her and putting her in the story. It's just unfortunate that she's a villain. So so hopefully, even though she does awful, evil, villainy things, people still find something nuanced in her character and still enjoy reading about her.
That's interesting, sir. Actually, I think the way that you describe the character reflects how much lightheartedness there actually is to um, the character themselves, and also why it made it so much easier and fun for you to write, which is actually very interesting. Because when you said about the friend that you're embarrassed to be with, but also you have like a great time with because they're funny, I am just reminded of a lot of my friends who are like that. And it's always a very light and fun time when I'm with them. So very much agree with your statement po regarding that, and I understand why you had fun there.
And she adds a lot of levity to the scenes, especially when just thinking about it, the scenes that she's in, those are really dark, and like I said, she's a villain, so those are really dark and awful scenes. But having her there adds a bit of levity, so as not to get the book so I don't want to drag. I want the readers to feel uh, scared and to feel worried about the character, but I don't want to drag them into a very, very dark place. It's not the kind of book. It's just not the. This is this is a bit light-hearted fantasy adventure. So I don't want them to drag into a very, very dark place that they'll go depressed for days. So I just want to have. I just want to make these scenes with her like fun and light-hearted, and just like okay. But then, oh god, of course, hopefully her impact to the story will make the readers go like, wait, I'm laughing, but actually something awful is happening, and this is like, wait, I shouldn't be laughing at this scene or something like that. Hopefully.
So it's just very chill, sir, right? Like you want it to be like you can recognize that this is a villain. You recognize that the things that they do are somewhat bad or unacceptable, but then you want it to be um, still fun and enjoyable for the readers to read. Not so much that they dread reading the
Then
book, right?
yes.
You want it to be as chill and relaxed as you intended it to be. That's very interesting. And I think incorporating that intention with the fantasy genre will actually be interesting, especially considering how um, the fantasy genre can, if intended, it has a tendency to lean towards a more dark, would I say, side, wherein sometimes the characters they carry like relatable life lessons and messages, but then um, it tends out to be heavier than expected. So I think it's really nice that you have that intention of keeping it lighthearted and fun, where the readers will really laugh or make fun of the character and maybe connect with the character even because you had so much fun with that, sir. So yeah. So for the last question po, do you have anything to say for your readers and writers? Maybe a message that you would like to tell them po?
So yeah, for the readers out there, for the followers of 8 Letters, for the whole 8 Circles community, please I invite you to check out and read The Girl from the Inn. So yeah, The Girl from the Inn. So it's an adventure that is really gonna bring you to that really gonna bring you back to like your maybe childhood memories of like being in a set in a rural town in a fantasy world. So really brings you to memories of being away from the city and just like discovering secrets that are filled with mystery. And and if you enjoy fantasy books like the fantasy shows that we have like now, for example, House of the Dragon, uh the the Witcher, those kind of books. And but into that, I'm sure you will like it. Hopefully, sure you like it. But if you're not, I'm also wrote this as a way to. It's not that very heavy on the fantasy elements, so it's because I wanted to invite like even those who are not fans of the fantasy genre that maybe they want to dip their toes and try something not realistic as possible. So yeah, this is something that you can try and get. And yeah, so it will be available. I don't know when this video will be released, but it will be available on the 8 letter shop and all the other uh, physical and online bookstores. And yeah, check it out. And for the other writers out there, so who also, if also I've seen a lot of people started getting into and playing Dungeons and Dragons, D&D. So don't hesitate to really uh, pull your experiences from the game and then like maybe write something out of it. So hopefully I can inspire others out there who write their own stories based on the games or the adventures, the experiences they had while playing the game.
Thank you, sir. I like what you said. You said you didn't incorporate much fantasy genre elements. I think that's a good sign for the readers and the audience that this might be a good introduction if you want to check the genre or you just want to start knowing about how the genre is like, especially in terms of books. So that's a very wonderful message, sir. All right. So now we have reached the end of this book talk. Thank you so much, Sir MC Tolfo, for joining me today. Once
Thank
again, I am Gloria, and I'll see you on the next episode of 8 Letters Book Talk. Bye!
Bye.